morning. Oh no, actually it's afternoon. Oh my, does time fly? Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a blast at this first day of Odoo experience. I know that we are glad to see the old faces and all the new faces, both inside and outside of the Odoo company. Um, as the predecessors before, I will talk about these new industry apps that we have developed this year and that we've made available on the Odoo Cloud. For the first time, a way to load external applications very easily on the Odoo Cloud. Mine will be about photography. It's going to be quite quick, but I will take some time to explain a little bit the idea behind these industries applications. As you might notice from my outfit, I used to be a developer before I was a product owner, and I would like to take 5 minutes to talk a little bit about why I think these new kind of applications or pre-configurations are really interesting. So I'm gonna assume that some of you have not seen the two previous talks, so I'm gonna say that again. But these new industry apps, what are they? They are basically pre-configurations that customers can load into their database super easily from the apps menu. They work on all of the platforms, and I think this is going to be the key word here, and the key concept is that these new data modules, you can load them on the cloud, and you will be able to publish them super easily for yourself as well. I'm not sure this has been announced. Again, as Christophe before me, I might be spoiling Fabien's presentation from tomorrow, but if it was a secret, they didn't tell me. So these work on all of the platforms. This is the first time that we've made it this easy to import configuration and data and apps into a cloud database for developers. They have basically two ways of working, let's say. Either they will simply adapt existing apps or pre-configure them or set them up in some way for a specific industry, or they will really add entirely new concepts. I'm not sure of all the industry that we will see today, but I'm sure that will be a little bit of both. In my case, this is more about adapting or pre-configuring what's there rather than reinventing the wheel. A lot of stuff that you might want to do in those applications as well is enable or disable stuff, configuration options, system parameters for your future users, future customers, so that the database is way more intuitive for them to use, because maybe in that kind of industry they will use this kind of configuration by default. And you can as well, and this is, I think, also something that can be useful, tune demo data to really match a specific use case. We have demo data in Odoo. You can actually load them when you do a cloud instance, but they're very generic, a bit boring, and don't really always match what you want to showcase. With the industry applications, you can design your own demonstration data and have it really match whatever your customers might need. So that can be really powerful. The way I did it was when we have an industry app to design, first let's identify the needs of this type of customers. Here we're talking about freelancer photographers and small photography studios, a few people, maybe, I would say no more than 5 probably. And what they will need is pretty standard. They will need to manage the project, so know what they have to do when they have to do it. They have to schedule appointments. For example, if your client wants to come inside the studio to have portraits taken for business portraits or family portraits, you will want them to be able to book an appointment, so that can be useful as well. You have the CRM, so that if you have new clients coming to you, you can easily get warned about it, communicate clearly, and have a really clear overview of your sales pipe, let's call it. You have sales and invoicing as well, and you have the website. The need for a website for a photographer is clearly not something I want to go into because it's obvious, but there is another need for photographers with regards to website, is that you will usually want to publish some kind of gallery for whichever customer you went to photograph. So for example, if you have a corporate event or a wedding or something like that, we usually take a lot of pictures, you will post-process them and then publish them on a gallery if the customer asks it. It's clearly doable in Odoo. I didn't think, because that's how I designed the application. I didn't think that was something we wanted to go into at this moment. Perhaps we will one day do it in an improvement of the module, but at the moment when I speak about a website in Odoo, I'm just speaking about like a showcase website or a sales website, not those private galleries. Once you have had a look at these industry needs specific to your use case, what I did and what you can do if you have the option is look a little bit at the other systems that already exist, perhaps even specialized for this kind of industry. In this case, let's say the two main competitors that I could easily analyze and document online were called Bloom and Studio Ninja. No, sorry, there's a typo there, not Studio Ninja, though it might be a good brand name if you want to shoot them. And what they do is basically the basics as well. So they do project and CRM, they do planning, they do, in some cases, even online payments, which you could definitely do in Odoo, of course. In the case of Bloom, they do website galleries, so you have an easy way for your users or the users of the app to upload a mass amount of photos and have it display in a gallery that is then accessible to the final client. And what's interesting as well is to look at the pricing. Sometimes specialized tools will cost. Okay, my English is running away from me, I don't know why. What I wanted to say was that sometimes the cost will be really high, especially for specialized tools. In the case of photography, it's in the same ballpark as Odoo. That means that we have a good way to enter this market because the pricing is the same. The configuration of Odoo for their need is going to be a little bit more complicated if they start from scratch. That's why I'm here. But once they use Odoo, they have way more value for the money than in a specialized tool that will usually limit itself to the basics of that industry. So that I think is really interesting to keep in mind as well. Keep an eye on the market for your industry because you can learn some interesting tool from it. Like my colleagues, I'm going to do a quick demo. Unlike my colleague that was right before me, I'm not mad enough to do it online, so I have everything running from my computer. And I've just installed the application. As for the others, if you want to see this application, this is not yet online. I think it will come online tomorrow. You simply go into the apps menu. You have a new industries subsection. And here you can see what has already been published. And you simply this one, of course, I cannot install it, I already have it, but if I click on the activate button to install it on my instance, it will tell me, hey, actually, I'm not sure it's going to work locally. I may have just did a terrible mistake, but it's fine. I will just refresh. When you click activate, it will tell you, hey, we need to install these apps as well for this industry module to work. And you can decide at that moment as well to include the demonstration data. That's what I did on this database. As the others, we always start with a knowledge article explaining to you what this industry is about, how we configured the database for you, that kind of way to show you around and to guide you into the system. In the case of the photography system, we designed... Ah, interesting. Let's try plugging it off and on again. Yep. Yep. Thank you. Apologies. Yeah, I tried not doing the demo on the internet to have nothing go wrong, and then it's the projector that goes mad on me. So as I was saying, you start with a knowledge article that explains the possibilities that you've pre-configured for your future users. In this case, this was mostly a need to have CRM and project management. So what we explain is, okay, you have basically two kinds of projects, let's call them. You have projects where you go outside and you go to the customer's location on a specific date to have a specific event photographed. So a corporate party, a conference, a wedding, something like this. And in this case, what you will usually have is either someone contacting you directly. In this case, you can just go through the CRM manually. They will also come through the website. And so if I go into the website, no, I don't want to go there. Ah, okay, it's fine. Oh, apologies, my website is in French. But you will get the ID anyway. I need to put an address. What usually will happen is that you will get a lead from an external um, customer or future customer. You will have, in this case, we pre-configure it so that we can show you really to the user, hey, that's something you can do easily. You can just customize it. You can, for example, select the type of event. So my name is John Smith, who's very busy today. And I have a professional event. We also showcase the fact that you can have conditional events, conditional content appearing depending on your selection. So I'm actually going to organize something today, and the rest is not that important, but I just need to fill it. Conference and here there. And what we want to showcase with this is that once a customer do that, what happens is that in your CRM, you directly get the new lead tagged correctly. So here we can see already that it's a professional event. So if I want to organize my leads by tagging, I can do that. We also have all the extra information like the date and stuff like this included in the description of the lead. From there, it's also a very classical flow where from the lead you will create a sales order. We have pre-configured some mail templates that you can send from the sales order and some quote templates as well. So if I look for, I think she's called Regina. Yep, Regina Spector. It's a little bit after Halloween, but still. You can then decide, okay, we have some quotation templates that will send some emails at confirmation with a wording that is adapted to the content of your profession industry. So we have a few of those. We have products pre-configured as well that will create a project. By default, it's empty, but you could also go and customize the project templates themselves so that you have already a set of tasks that is fixed per project. For example, you know that if you go outside, the list of tasks will always have a hardware check, a team planning, post-processing for a few days after the event, that kind of stuff. So you can pre-configure all that as well, but the default configuration does not go that far. Once you have this project, you simply work as usual within Odoo, so you can create your invoice from the sales application. You can work with deadlines, with the Gantt view in a project, that kind of flows. And then you have the other kind of events or meetings or clients that you will have, which is the studio session. So typically someone that will come in to get photographs taken for a baby announcement, or because they would like to showcase their the magnificency of their cat online, something like this. And for those, you will use the same steps with one extra variation is that these people will be able to take an appointment within your system automatically and choose the time frame that they prefer to come into your place without the need to phone you or call you and get complications with agenda meeting, agenda planning. So we pre-configured an appointment type, which is called a studio shoes. Of course, the goal is for the end user to go in there and customize everything. So customize the hours at which the studio is open, customize how much time the customer has to cancel the appointment. So, for example, you don't want people to cancel 20 hours before the date because it's too late, and then you want them to pay even if they don't show. That kind of ideas. And that's mostly it for this industry because let's be honest, I picked an easy industry. Photography is not a very complicated business. It works like a lot of other businesses. But I think the discussion here is also about what these modules allow you to do, you developers. Hopefully someone from the community is listening to this. I didn't do, actually let's do it now. Can you raise your hand if you're listening to me? Okay. And can you keep your hand raised if you're a technical person? Okay, so a few people. Thank you. Um, okay, we're back at the start. I need to go back to my. Okay. What we think the value here is really is that, I mean, there's nothing that much complicated into these app modules. In my case, I coded it, a part of it myself. It's a few mail templates, a few data in XML that gets loaded and pre-configured with sensible defaults, but we hope the customer will adapt it to their need. But the value here is really that I took an half a day or maybe half a week to configure this system. But I know what I'm doing. I know the system very well. I know how to fit all the parts together so that you can map concepts like, okay, how will I plan my appointments uh, into stuff that exists within Odoo. And the value you had is that this knowledge, you're basically giving it in that module. Because for someone that discovers Odoo from scratch and that has specific needs that is really tied to their industry, coming into an empty database without any guidance is really complicated. Even though we try to make Odoo super simple to use, if you're a photographer, you may be not used to managing your business online. We try to help you, but it's not always possible to do everything because we have to balance the way we are telling people what to do and leaving them the freedom to explore. Here, you have really a possibility to tailor and to give all the knowledge that you have of Odoo, apply it to a specific niche market that is not seldom addressed to, um, and provide them with something that is really, really gaining them a lot of time. Maybe not a lot of time when they work, because obviously we hope that Odoo will do that automatically, but you will make them gain a lot of time when starting because they will know where to look. You will have the possibility to talk to them directly. Even to, if you want, you could provide a tour. So you know the little drops that appear in Odoo telling you try this and that and that. You could design it in these apps as well and show your users really, hey, I know that you're coming from a specific market where you have specific habits, and you can now tailor Odoo to them. So this brings a lot of value. You're basically making your expertise as a consultant or as a developer available to people. There is also a really nice aspect of discoverability because niche markets, I mean, photography is not a good example of that because it's something that we have specialized tools for this. But my colleague Luc initially showed you how to manage billboards, for example. I'm really not sure that a lot of specialized billboards industry software exists. And so you can make a dent in a market that is really small and that people will not usually address with complex tools by giving them something that is really made to their needs. And I think that's really interesting and really powerful. The apps that we are publishing today, they're, of course, we hope that people will use them, but they are also a showcase so that you can see what can be achieved with these applications. So that's my point of view as a developer anyway. It's a way, really, the fact that we now have access to the Odoo Cloud as a developer with these modules and super easily from within the database itself, the customer can install all this. I think it's really, really nice. So that's it. I hope I convinced you that if you're not a photographer, hope I still convinced you that these are really interesting new ideas that are coming available today for you developers. So if you have questions, the address is shown right here, and I think I have someone coming up.
Thank you, Damien. It was really good presentation as well. And I guess it is going to help a lot, many photographers around the world, right?
I hope so.
And we also have some good questions. So please, kindly invite you to everyone that wants to make a question to Damien. You can use here the pad, scanning here the QR code. So the first question is, if I make my own polished app like this, not using Python code for photographers, let's say, giving your example as well, can I publish in the Odoo App Store and can I monetize it?
Yes.
My new mobile.
As my predecessor said, I think we're spoiling the CEO keynote of tomorrow a little bit. I don't know all the exact details, but indeed, that's the end goal, is that for you people in the community and in the developer community to be able to, as I said, provide your expertise and your knowledge. And of course, to make a profit out of it. Not because you're but because really you're bringing value to the system. I don't think it will sell for hundreds of dollars. Basically, if you really do something that is worth that much money, it's probably something that will be deployed on Odoo SH. But for SaaS instances, yeah, it can be monetized, and that's the end goal as well, is for you to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's an important point as well. And we have such a large community of people working with Odoo. I guess that maybe some people can be experts, let's say, photograph before we saw also for lawyers, right? And we also have another question. In case I want to add new fields, let's say, do some kind of personalization, I cannot do it in the code directly, technically.
I can show you. Well, no, that's not what I wanted to start. Yeah, I can show you a little bit what these modules look like. So if I go into, I have actually the repository on my machine. But yeah, you can do really pretty neat stuff even with just XML files. Obviously, you cannot do, for example, really deep overrides to, for example, include stuff in outgoing emails or stuff like this. But you can add new fields, you can add new models, you can add new menus from scratch. Basically, whatever you can do with Studio, you can do with importable modules. That's the, if you want, I'm obviously not going to have the time to show this, so let's drop this ID. But yeah, if you can do it with Studio, you can do it on a data module as well, industry module as well.
That's great. It's also good to have the possibility. One last question, Damian. So the customers, they want as well to consider the long term, right? So if they are doing an implementation, for example, in the version 17, what about the upgrade in the future? How is it going to be working?
The point of these modules is that they are not that complicated, and they are basically just pre-configurations with a little bit of help and possibly custom fields or models. If you have custom fields, they get normally migrated automatically. Sometimes they might disappear from a view, but that's also why we do sometimes advise users to pay for maintenance of their customizations. I am not yet fully versed in the economics of the system, so I don't know if there will be maintenance or not. I guess it will be answered tomorrow in another talk. But normally for upgrades, it should be covered, especially for the apps that we publish as Odoo. We will, I think, cover them. Certainly, and for specific customers, for specific apps coming from third-party developers, I'm not fully sure. The point is that you should, I guess, take it into account when you design stuff. If you design an app completely on the side with new models and fields, there's nothing to migrate. The data will not evolve between the versions, so everything works out of the box. If you're heavily customizing the accounting application, or the inventory application with new fields, new behaviors, yeah, your mileage may vary. You might need to adapt the code. I guess we will probably do a versioning system at some point. As I said, this is as new to me as it is to you. I know a little bit more than you, but I think by tomorrow you will be on equal footing with me.
That's great. Some mystery. So everyone is invited to follow, the presentation for tomorrow.
I really do hope that Fabien will talk about it. Otherwise, I will look like a fool. But whatever, it'll be in the past.
Thank you very much, Damian. Thank you, everyone that joined. Let's see another industry in the next talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everybody.